make a page layout of this flange using SketchUp software. So at first I have drawn this flange, as you can see, and its dimensions are in centimeters. So here it's 36, and the diameter, if you look at this one, the diameter is 16 centimeter for the smaller circle, and for this one the diameter is 16 centimeter. This one, the diameter is 16. This one, the radius is 16, and here the height of this object is 32 centimeters, and the distance from here to the end is 36, and the diameter of this one is 18 centimeter, and the thickness of this portion of the flange is 11, and the thickness of this portion is also 11. So this is my flange drawing, as I have shown you in the class before. So I will create a page layout of my flange. So I have completed the three-dimensional model construction. Now I will prepare a page layout, and would use layout software for this part of the work. So I'll set this view and save the file, and go to layout and open the layout software, which should be like this. So once you have opened this up, you will see there are a bunch of templates here. So I will use this A3 landscape format. I can also use different types of page layouts from here, and some of them already have nameplates set up for you, but for our work we'll simply use the default A3 blank page layout and click on OK from this template list. Okay, so once layout opens, you will see this A3 page layout that I selected at the start, and you will also see this viewport, which is the same view as you see in SketchUp. So this is practically the same view here. So if you click on this one, you can activate the viewport, and you can resize the viewport. If you click on the corners, you can resize, and you can make them smaller, or you can make them bigger, or you can hold the corners like this and you can either move them or you can resize them. So the object would get smaller or larger depending upon how much you drag the viewport. Okay, so this kind of resizes your drawing when you drag the viewport. You can also make it smaller or larger by dragging from this side. So once I set this up, because I have to have 4 different drawings set up in this page, so I have to set the size of the drawing in such a way that I can fit 4 drawings here. So this size looks a little bit okay. So I'll double click inside this viewport to activate it. Then I'll hold the middle mouse button and hold it down and move my mouse, and until I get approximately isometric view, 45 degrees here. So that's an approximate isometric view, and then I'll double click outside the viewport to set the view like this. Once this is set, you can click and activate this viewport here. Now you will see a bunch of tabs here on this side, which is called the default tray. You can call the default tray anytime by going to Windows and clicking on these options here. So if, for example, I click on hide tray, you will see the tray is gone. If I go back and click on show tray, it will come up, and any of these tabs I can turn on, for example, and I can also turn off. So if I click here, it will turn on. That means it would appear on this side. So that's how you can access the tabs here on the default tray. Now you have to be careful that when you want to make any changes, you have to have this viewport selected to make it active, because all the commands that you issue from here would be applied to the viewport that you select. So first of all, I'll go to this SketchUp model tab here, and you will see there are two options. One is view, the other one is tiles. So from here, first of all, I'll click on ortho to make this drawing orthogonal. Now once you click that, the drawing gets pretty small, and the scale is 1:8 inch. But if you remember, we drew in centimeter scale, so we'll look down here somewhere. There are different scales here. So if I select, let's say 1:10, you'll see the drawing appears like this, but it's kind of small because my page is big, so it's a bit small. So I'll just click here and click on this one, 1:5, and here the size of the drawing looks quite reasonable. So if you notice that here, preserve scale on resize means if you make this viewport, if you resize this viewport by dragging these handles, no change will take place for this object scale. That means it won't get smaller or bigger no matter how you drag and change the size of this viewport. So this option is very handy because it keeps the zoom level or the scale fixed. So once I have fixed the scale here and I have resized my viewport, I will use this option here, because I can have a vector drawing, raster drawing, or a hybrid. From here I'll select the vector, and when it gives a warning, I'll simply say OK. So you will see the lines get sharper, and here for the time being I'll keep things like this. I'll keep on this other tab, which is the style tab, and there's a small button here. This is the style collection button. So if you click here, you can see a list by clicking this button, or if you click this one, you will see larger icons. So I'll select this default styles option, and you will see a lot of different types of styles under this one. So if you want to make your window bigger so that you can see more, you can drag here and you can see all these different styles: hidden lines, shaded, wireframe. So from here I'll select hidden lines. So as soon as I select hidden lines, you see all that gray color is gone. There's one more thing I have to do. There's an option called background. So I'll click and remove the background. So as soon as I remove the background, you will see you can see the hatch or the these grid lines behind the drawing. And here, this one, line width, it decides kind of how thick these lines would be. So by default it's 0.5. I'll change it to let's say 2 points and click enter. So you don't see any noticeable change here, but if you zoom here, you could probably see that the line is thicker than before. So you can also move around this whole page by holding down the middle mouse button and then dragging to the sides, or scrolling the middle mouse button so that you can zoom in. So that's my first view of the object. Now I will click on this one again, and I'll make a copy of this one, and again paste the same thing here and move it to the side by holding this viewport and moving it to the side like this. For this one, first of all, I'll go to the view tab again, and I'll change the standard view to the top view. So you see the top view has come up, and I will resize the viewport and make sure that all parts of the object are visible. Okay, so that kind of looks okay. Now, so once I set this drawing, I'll go to styles again. I'll select the default styles library, but from here, if you remember, we chose hidden lines before, but this time I'll select this wireframe option. As soon as I select wireframe, you will see all the lines inside the object have become visible. For example, this line is nothing but this circle's edge here. This line is this circle's edge here, and this line you see on the top is actually this line. So you have all these lines made visible if you select the wireframe option. Now I'll make a copy of this one, edit copy, edit paste, and then because I need this drawing to align with the drawing I bring here, so I'll just press the shift key down on my keyboard, and then I will press the down arrow so that this copy moves exactly vertically down in position here, and I would simply change the top view into front view. So that's my front view. I'll make a copy again, and I'll paste it again. I'll hold down the shift key and move it to the side like this, and then I'll simply change the standard view from front to right. So here I have my all 4 views of the drawing. The next part is that I'll select all of them together, and I would explode, right click on the blue line here and click on explode. So when I explode, the viewports are gone and these are converted into drawings. So I can click on any drawing, right click and ungroup. So you see all the lines are connected because they're grouped together. So I will right click and ungroup these drawings, and if I click now, I can select individual lines here. So these look pretty okay. This one is again grouped, so I will click ungroup again. This one also looks grouped. Now I can select individual lines. But here, for example, if you notice, this line is actually connected to this line. Even if I try to ungroup, there is no option because these are this is one single line. So I'll select select this button. This is called the split button. So I'll click the split button and click on the corner here. So when I click on the corner, this one is separated from this line. So my ungrouping is also done. So I'll close this SketchUp model tab, and I'll select all the lines that I need to make dotted hidden lines. So I'll click this one first, then I'll press shift on the keyboard and click on all the lines that have to be made dotted. Okay, so the lines are selected. I'll click here the shape style, and under the shape style there is an option called dashes. So the first one, you'll see these are dotted lines. So I'll select the dotted lines. I can keep the line thickness 2 points. I can also change it to 1 point just to make the drawing look better, so that I can differentiate the hidden lines from the other lines. I would also select this line and drag it here because this was exactly on top, so this goes through the center, and drag it here to make it smaller, and drag this line somewhere here because these are our center lines. Now you see I need more center lines here and here as well as here, so these I cannot get from this drawing, so I'll just have to draw them. I'll click this one, and the line thickness you see is 0.5, so I'll change it to 1 point and click in the middle, click somewhere here. Now if you don't press escape, it will keep on asking you to give the next point, so I'll click escape to close the command. Again I'll click here and here and escape, as well as with reference from here, click, escape, as well as middle point. I can drag somewhere down here, click and click, escape, and also the middle of this line somewhere here and here, escape. So I have all my center lines, except I have to make these a bit larger so that they stick out. Okay, so again I'll select the dotted lines, this one, dash, larger dash, smaller dash. This is the center line command, so I'll select this one, and all my lines have been drawn. I have center lines and I have dotted lines, hidden lines. Now I'm ready to put all the dimensions in the drawing, so I'll close this shape style and click on dimension style as well as this text style. So I have two tabs here open. Now if you notice here, this dimension style is grayed out because I didn't select the command here. This is the dimensions command, this is the label command, and this is the text command. So I will make use of all three of these commands. So I'll first click on the dimensions command here, and as soon as I click here, you will see that this tab has become active. Now I'll first of all what I'll do is I'll click on this auto scale here so that I can put my own scale. Now if you remember at the beginning of the drawing, we selected 1 millimeter is to 5 millimeter as the scale of our drawing. So I'll select the same scale here, and the unit was centimeters, and the precision was only no figures after decimal, just whole numbers. So these are this is 1. I turned off auto scale, then I turned on I selected the scale and the unit as well as the precision. Now here a few more things you have to adjust. For example, the font, the typeface, and the size. I'll select, let's say, 16 points as the typeface. Now if I scroll my middle mouse button, I can zoom in here and I can click this one here, and SketchUp would automatically put a header and add the dimension here. Now you might be wondering why this line is being drawn here, and because the text and the spacing doesn't fit within this space. So if you want to do that, we have to delete and select a font which is narrower and it will fit. So we'll select Arial narrow and 16. Let's try with this one. So if we try to apply the dimensions with this narrow font, you will see there's no, because it hasn't been changed here. So we'll select our dimension here first, and we'll select Arial narrow, because Arial narrow is a narrow font. It will fit within the space. Now once I set the parameters, if I drag, you can see that text fits within the space that I set. So those are my dimensions for this part of the flange. I can also set the dimensions for this part of the flange. This one I only need to track and put here. So that's those are the dimensions. Now if you look at this line, this is much thicker, so I'll change this to 1 point, because all my center lines and hidden lines are 1 points, if you remember. So I'll keep them uniform. For this one again, let's see if everything is okay. Yeah, everything looks okay. So font, I'll first put a dimension here, and this one as well as this one. But if I put a radius, I will not get it automatically. So let me finish giving dimensions here, and after I'm done putting linear dimensions, I'll go for the circular ones, meaning putting dimensions on center. So this one I'll use the label tool, click on the circle and click here, then double click on the text and type its radius manually. For example, if you remember, this was 8 r 8 centimeter, and you can see that the font is pretty small, so I'll change it to 16, and like before it was Arial narrow, so we have to be consistent with the text we select. So now the size is okay, so we'll put another label here, this one again. If we'll check if everything looks okay, we'll delete and type R 16 centimeter here, and the last one we'll just click, and here we'll type R 9 centimeter. Okay, so that's our label for all the text that we have. Now we'll simply select this label text label tool, and we'll make a box like this. And here maybe we need a larger font, so we'll select 24 and put the label top view. Maybe this one will look better if we use bold font, so we'll select the bold font here. This is top view, and we can also change the font, or we can keep the same font, doesn't matter. Copy and paste. So if I press shift and right arrow, it will stay exactly aligned with the text that I had written before. So that's my copy of the text. I'll simply change it to isometric view, and I will also copy this one, press shift and click on this one, and again I will copy and paste these drawings and move them down like this. So that kind of looks okay. So I have the 4 views. I'll select this one and change it to front view, and this one I'll change to right view. So those are the 4 standard views. Probably I would move these top drawings a bit closer to the margin there. Okay, so that kind of puts all the drawings in the right places. Now I have my drawing ready, so I'll just put the titles and the few common information that typically goes with a drawing. One of the first things that you write is, what is this drawing about? So you put a drawing title. Okay, so I have the basic information provided for the drawing. So I'll just do a little bit of fine-tuning here so that whatever is important kind of stands out in your drawing. And everything is important, but some of the things are easier to read when you can identify which one is the title and which one is the actual information. So I just made the actual information bold, and the titles, supporting titles, are not bold regular. And I'll change the font size. 20 or 16 is good enough. You can read font which is 16, which is quite big. And then I'll put this thing here because it doesn't fit on the space I have, so I'll just turn it 90 degrees around and put it here on the drawing. So that's the title of the drawing. I can put it in a box, or I don't have to do it right now. So for the time being, my drawing is complete. Now I'll put a border around my drawing by using this rectangle tool here, and I'll just select this corner and draw a big rectangle. Okay. Now you can notice here that once I have drawn this rectangle, this is hiding the full page here. So what I have to do is, first I move it into place, then I go on top of the line, then right click, and then I go to arrange and click on arrange, and there's an option called send to back. That means it has come on front of everything. So I'll just click on send to back. So when you send it to the back, you can again see all your drawings here. So your drawing is complete now. So I'll just simply go to export and select the file type PDF, and then give it a name. I'll call this flange drawing, FLANGE, flange. So let's say I call this flange drawing, and I'll select some folder where I can see my desktop folder is quite fine. So I'll just simply click on save. You can select on better quality and click on export. So once you export the file, Layout would print a PDF for you, and if you have Adobe Illustrator, it will show up in your Illustrator. So here is the drawing I have just prepared with all the titles, the basic information, the dimensions, the hidden and the solid lines. So if I zoom on the drawing, I can see that these lines are thicker because this is the object, and these are the hidden lines and center lines, and these are the dimensions. So my drawing is complete. Now I will either send it or email it, whichever is required. So good luck. I hope from now on you would be able to prepare page layouts of your drawing and present them to somebody who's going to make it for you.